Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's nice to see you all here. I feel like we should be singing The Sun on the Treetops as it blinds me in the eye here. But it's nice to see you all and be able to celebrate Shabbat. Michael, can we turn this down just a little bit? It's a little hot. One of the nice things about Shabbat is coming together as a community, and the song that we often sing for that is Hine Ma Tov, how good it is to be together, which is a wonderful way to start the sense of Shabbat because we join our voices together, we join our hearts together in prayer. And so I hope that our journey this evening is a very successful one. I welcome those who are viewing in on Zoom as well as we begin and celebrate Shabbat with our opening song on page 10, Hine Ma Tov. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim
Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad Hine Ma Tov u'manayim Shevet achim gam yachad.
I invite you to turn back in your prayer books to pages 2 and 3, and there we have the reading before and the candle blessing. It's my great pleasure to invite Kathy Johnson and Miriam Thompson to come forward for the honor of blessing our Shabbat candles.
Source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of good. Lead us to take the words
Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sit. On the top of page 9, we continue responsively. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We continue with the Lecha Dodi, welcoming our Sabbath bride, page 20. We'll sing the first, second, and final stanzas, and I remind you that we rise to face the doors of the sanctuary to greet the Sabbath bride when we get to that last verse.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'nitila lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, hi mekor habaracha, mirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzola, toch imonei am segula, boi chala, la 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 lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela.
I want to thank you for those who have remained standing, and the rest of us will rise as we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Together on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
May be seated as we continue together with the Hebrew of the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On the bottom of page 39, we continue responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your ways. Instructed by sages. Yeah. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורת
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. On the top of page 43, we continue together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת היין אף השבת, שבת היין
As we turn to page 46, we prepare for the tefillah. We'll ask that please rise as you are able to as the ark is opened.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Agin Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevig Ula Livnei V'nehem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'hoyom v'hallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please join with me on the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. On the bottom of page 59, we join together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We take time now for our individual prayers and thoughts.
צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, Amen.
I ask that we turn now to page 253 in our prayer books, page 253. There in the middle of the page is the prayer of Mishaberach, a prayer for healing. We ask God's blessing upon all who are in need of healing, be it from a physical, emotional, or spiritual illness, be it from an addiction, or for any malady. We ask, O God, that you bring them to a refuah shlema, a full and complete recovery. We ask that we be privileged to be part of that healing process as well. So I would ask if you have family members or friends who are in need of a Mishaberach to share their names aloud with us at this time. Terry Lankin, Jennifer Michaels, Jessica Turnoff, and Ronit Braunfeld. As we join together in the words of Mishaberach.
Mishaberach avotenu, makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Well, friends, I think we all know that the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem, is one of the holiest sites in all of Judaism. It links us to the Second Temple, where our ancestors experienced the presence of God until, that is, it was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70 CE. For centuries, it was thought to be all that remained of Herod's temple, though in recent years, extensive portions of the western and southern walls have been unearthed. We know, too, that nothing remains of Solomon's temple, destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. But does anything remain of the Mishkan, the tabernacle where our ancestors first worshiped in the wilderness in the days of Moses? I would suggest that something does. Even though the details of the tabernacle are given in last week's reading, Parashat Terumah, and completed in this week's Torah portion of Tetzaveh. And although the story of the golden calf comes in next week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, many scholars believe that the events are not given in their correct chronological order. Rather, that the tabernacle was a response to the sin of the calf, and that the ark housing the tablets of the Ten Commandments, the central feature of the tabernacle, was known as Aron HaEdut, the Ark of Witness, because it testified to the fact that God was still found in Israel's midst even after the incident of the golden calf. The instructions to build the tabernacle were placed before the account of the calf, perhaps to assure us, as we read the latter, that the story would not end disastrously. Now, according to that view, the making and the worshiping of the golden calf led God to understand how hard it was for the Israelites, newly freed from Egypt, to comprehend a totally abstract God, a God with no form, with no visible presence. At first, they looked at Moses as an incarnation of God. Then, when Moses disappeared up the mountain for almost 6 weeks, they fashioned the calf to represent the divine presence. To satisfy their need for a visible reassurance of God's invisible presence, without resorting to idols or images, God called on them to fashion a tabernacle. Why? As it says in the Torah, that I might dwell among you. That's God's reasoning for the tabernacle, that I might dwell among you. It was a tent-like structure that contained, in addition to the ark, a table and lamp to simulate God's dwelling place, and a ner tamid, an eternal light, hanging from the front of the tent to indicate the divine resident of the tabernacle was at home. The Ark of the Covenant, of course, no longer exists. There is no portable shrine, no table, no gold menorah lamp. So what remains of the tabernacle? The Ner Tamid, the eternal light burning in front of the ark that houses the Torah scrolls in every synagogue in the world. While the other symbols have disappeared and even the temple with its sacrificial altar has been consigned to ancient history, the eternal light continues to symbolize the real presence of an invisible, intangible God. What is it about light and fire that have made them such compelling and effective symbols of God for more than 3,000 years? For one thing, light itself is invisible, but it makes other things visible. We cannot see light, but light enables us to see each other. The psalmist wrote, "By your light do we see light." Just as light enables us to see the beauty of the world and the other people in it, God enables us not to see God, but to see God's world and to see the people in it as bearers of God's image. Furthermore, light is one of the constants of the world we live in. Einstein's theory of relativity taught us that the speed of light was one of the unchanging standards against which all relative standards of movement could be measured. In a similar way, God is the constant against which relative and evolving standards of morality can be measured. We cannot fully understand light. Quantum physicists are baffled, telling us that sometimes light acts as a wave and sometimes like a set of particles. It is sui generis, defying conventional laws of physics. But we can all benefit from the light even without fully understanding it. So too, we can all benefit from what God does without fully understanding what God is. Jewish theology, when not compelled to articulate itself in Christian and Muslim terminology, has never been about the nature of God. Jewish theology has been all about the will of God. Not what God is, but rather what God demands of us. When Moses brings about the reconciliation between God and Israel in next week's Torah portion, he goes on to ask God, "Let me see your face that I might know you." God, of course, replies, "No human being can see my face and live, but hide here in the cleft of this rock as I pass by, and you will see my back." It is perhaps one of the most perplexing verses in all of the Torah. After so strenuously insisting that God has no shape, no form, no body, how can the Torah speak of God's face and God's back? I take the verse to mean, you cannot see me face to face, but you can see my after effects, the difference I make as you have an impact on people's lives. Like light, God is real, but not visible. We don't see God, but rather we see things differently because of God. What is true of light is equally true of fire as a symbol of God. Fire is not an object. Fire is a process, the process of liberating the energy concealed in a lump of coal or in a log of wood. And God is not an object, a physical being that can be located in a specific place. God is the process of liberating the potential energy, the potential compassion, the potential goodness that is implanted in each and every one of us. Shabbat Shalom. Renee? Who's doing the announcements? I don't know where this show goes next. It's okay. Yeah. He'll turn it on. He'll turn it on. Shabbos. I guess based on those numbers, Wayne and Susan have been married about 8 years, right? And how old is Vicky? Okay, before we go on, I have a quiz for you. Who knows what holiday it is? Very good, Cynthia. You win a drink with your husband afterwards downstairs. All right? Purim Katan. Because the small Purim. Why is it the small Purim? Because in a leap year, when we have Adar Aleph and Adar Bet, Purim is celebrated in Adar Bet. And Adar Aleph, still on that day, is called Purim Katan. And so we'll be celebrating Purim Gadol, if you will, in a month. I'll be back, so you have a month now to think about not only what grogger you want to use to make noise, but what costume you want to wear. And I challenge you all to come and enjoy the festivities in costume. So think about it. You've got a month, so there are no excuses, right? And help to widen our celebration of Purim, okay? Anything goes in terms of that. All right, if you'll turn now to page 259, please rise as the ark is open for the prayer for the state of Israel, page 259. Avinu Shabashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshut Smichat Geulatenu. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. To this we all say, Amen. We continue with the Aleinu on the bottom of page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יגע אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
The mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. So we now have the privilege and the obligation to recall with affection those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. On this Shabbat, we continue the observance of the Shloshim period of Betty Langer Manson, mother of Marilyn Manson Hayes. And we mark the Yortzites over the years, the names and the influences of Ida Himes Gross, Mac B. Waldman, Sigmund Greenberg, Betty Klein, Paul Moskowitz, Helen Siegel, Hannah Goldstein, Herman Lederer, Michael Lederer, Manuel Breen, Louis Julius Alexander, Natalie Loeb Alexander, Dr. Philip B. Greenberg, Julie Parker, Stanislav Stupelchin, Sandy Liebling, Estelle Levy, Kathy Neal, Robert Diamond, Gertrude W. Krasno, Gerson Sheps, Rose Flatow, William Gedaley, Jackie Allen, Abe S. Goldstein, Edith Tettenbaum, Doris W. Spector, Nathan Gingold, Mervyn F. Sandman, Lena Mayer, Edward Schultz, Recha Goldblum, Miriam Herman, Phil Stein, Faye Blum, Arnold Goldstein, Bertie G. Miller, and Joe Markowicz. We also remember the Israelis, including members of the IDF, who have died since October 7th, as well as the people of Gaza. We join together and we rise for the words of Kaddish. Page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lame'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei t'kudasha b'richu. La'elo min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom, page 629, the last three verses. Our God and God of all the ancestors of our people, on this Shabbat as on every Shabbat, make us mindful of the myriad blessings that you bestow upon us. Help us, O God, to understand that while light is invisible, you are very much part of who we are. We are guided by the rays of the Ner Tamid, of the eternal flame, guiding us to words of Torah, to lessons of Torah, of how to treat one another, how to create a better world in which we live, and how to take those values and translate them into good works. We ask, O God, that you continue to bless us with these enduring words. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and guard you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, may God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God watch over all of us and grant to us the blessing of shalom, the gift of peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.